Nice, 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 nice.
He's got Big Jimmy Walker. He's a pool shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he's big and dumb. You ready?
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Peter Barber here, professional opera singer and music producer, and today we're going to be checking out Geoff Castellucci, the man, the myth, the legend, his latest cover of Don't Mess Around with Jim, originally by Jim Croce. This is an old favorite of mine. I've been listening to the original since I was a wee lad, so I'm very excited to see what Geoff does with it. If you guys would like to hear my music, I just released an album called Metamorphosis. It's 12 songs long. I'll leave all the links below in the description for you guys to check that out. That's everything I do as a professional singer and music producer outside of the opera world. Very excited about it. Very cool stuff. So check that out. And guys, if I enhance your Geoff Castellucci experience, please do consider joining my Patreon community for as little as $1 a month for benefits, or you can check it out for free and then kind of see if it's something you want to join, and you can always leave at any time. So that's cool and super easy, and it's the best way to support me. Otherwise, please do like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. And without further ado, let's check out Geoff Castellucci singing You Don't Mess Around with Jim. That's it. So something Geoff does with a lot of his covers, which I often comment on, is he likes to add extra drive and kind of punch to songs, which is also something I love to do in my music as well. And it just adds something so special, and it revs up the intensity. And I think it's a great way to do a cover, because it's a great way to bring, you know, a new spin, a new flair to a song that has been around for decades and decades and decades, especially one like this. So starting off with some kick, some claps. Of course, we get Geoff humming in his bass register to start us off, and then a stacked harmony comes in shortly after on the repeat. So we're in E minor. So we're just hearing Geoff down to that E2, that bass low E in this introduction here. And I also love something else really quick. He's got the, like, whenever the kick or the clap happens, right, the camera jostles, which I don't know if I've seen in his videos before, which is just a nice added touch. Also, Geoff looking saucy. Respect to the gun show that we are seeing right now. Absolutely saluted. So those are just octaves. Just octaves there. We also do have a little acoustic guitar kind of not hitting chords, but hitting the string, the muted chords, essentially. That is the final element of this introduction. And yeah, let's see what he does with the solo.
Well, Uptown's got its hustlers, the Bowery has got its bums, and 42nd Street's got Big Jimmy Walker. He's a pool shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he's big and dumb as a man can come, but he's stronger than a country house. And when the bad folks all get together at night, you know they all call him Big Jim Boss, just because.
Yeah, this is such a great twist on this classic song. I think Geoff got all the way down to an E1 subharmonic. Down there. And I think I also heard him down to about a low A sustained chest. Absurd, both of those things. And what was the other thing I wanted to say? Low A chest, E1 subharmonic. I'm sure Mason's going to edit this, so he's zooming in on my face right now. Can't remember. Let's go back and listen again.
Hustlers, the Bowery has got its bums, and 42nd Street's got Big Jimmy Walker. He's a pool shooting.
Yeah, there's that E1 subharmonic kind of layering underneath everything.
And 42nd Street's got Big Jimmy Walker. He's a pool shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he's big and dumb.
think that was a breathy low B, a breathy B1 there just before that the repeat there.
Jimmy Walker, he's a bull shooting son of a gun. Yeah, he's big and dumb as a man
A's.
can come, but he's stronger than a country horse. And when the bad folks all get together at night, you know they all call him Big Jim Boss just because.
I think we also do get a kind of funky bass guitar sound that I don't think he is singing. And of course, Geoff, when he does his solo stuff like this, he's not a cappella, so he's not holding himself to the, an a cappella arrangement where it's all voices. It's never been a thing for his music. I've always said how I think that's really smart for him to branch away slightly. You can get a larger audience that way. You can, quite frankly, it takes less time to create a song if it's not a cappella most of the time. Voices, dealing with a ton of voices tends to be very time consuming, especially for voice editing. It's a very intricate process. So I think it's brilliant for a number of reasons that he has branched away from that, yet still does his a cappella music with voice play. But I think there's some kind of electric synthy bass guitar in here, kind of playing around with his low bass vocal lines, which is a difficult thing to do from a mixing engineer standpoint, because if you have too many elements in that low frequency, the low part of the frequency spectrum, it tends to get really muddy down there. So you have to be really careful, and pick and choose kind of what you want to favor, because you can't have a big synth bass right in the middle and a big vocal bass line right in the middle. It just won't sound good. There's no way to get around that from the physics of sound, literally. But I think there is some kind of bass guitar happening, I think.
Yeah, he's big and dumb as a man can come, but he's stronger than a country horse.
It could be a stand-up bass, actually, not electric bass. It sounds more like a stand-up bass, stand-up double bass, which is more fitting for the genre, really, than an electric guitar, anyway. Electric bass.
Big and dumb as a man can come, but he's stronger than a country horse. And when the bad folks all get together at night, you know they all call him Big Jim Boss just because. Just because. They say you don't tell.
So we get a few harmonies there. He was just doing octaves previously, for the most part, but we're getting a lot of action on these ms in the background, which they blend so nicely. All of the Geoffs here can be singing at once. There's no problem with clutter. The vowel blends very nicely and doesn't really get in the way of the lead vocal. We also have some added action in the guitar. For at least the introduction, we were getting more muted sounds, and now we're getting the full-on chords from the guitar. Not strummed and held out right there. It's like rhythm guitar, basically. But there's more action happening there than previously.
Just because. And they say you don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Well, out of south, out of
Nice. I like what he takes away all the instruments, all the backing tracks, all the drums, and it's just vocal here, right, for a little while.
You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit.
Except for snaps. So we got lead vocal, harmonies, snaps. That's it for this section here.
And they say you don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Well, out of south.
So those are two changes there. He changes the rhythm of one of these lead vocals. I'll point it out here.
Into the wind. You don't
pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger. And he goes, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger. And then he adds this at the end of this too, which is not in the original. So in proper Geoff fashion, keeping the core of the original song that we love so much, this classic song, adding the bass vocals to it, adding his own arrangement of it, changing melodies slightly, changing rhythms slightly, adding an extra harmony here and there, adding all that drive from the drums you don't get in the original. Just this is a great example of like Geoff really putting a nice flair, putting his signature on a song.
Landscape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Well, out of South Alabama come a country boy. He said, I'm looking for a man named Jim. I am a pool shooting boy. My name is Willie McCoy, but down home they can call me Slim. Said,
I like how he's actually doing... like he's not only singing in that upper octave, but he's actually like he's changing his vocal color to be like a different character. Also, I saw one bass Geoff, which one of these Geoffs is doing bass, looked like he was syncing along with whatever was happening in what I thought was that upright bass. So maybe it is his voice with a number of effects on it to make it sound more like an upright bass. The jury's out on that currently. I'm really not sure what is going on.
Well, out of South Alabama come a country boy. He said, I'm looking for a man named Jim. I am a pool shooting.
And you see Geoff doing the hand movements that bass singers do when they're walking a bass line. Right? And so that was the same thing that was happening in that upright bass. So maybe they're both there and he's doing them both, but he does have them mixed in a way where the balance isn't, one's not blowing out the other one. You can do that. You just can't have them both super forward and present. You do have to, whereas one of them you could, if you wanted to favor it.
Well, out of South Alabama come a country boy. He said, I'm looking for a man named Jim. I am a pool shooting boy. My name is Willie McCoy, but down home they can call me Slim. Said, I'm looking for the king of 42nd Street. He's driving a drop-top Cadillac. You know he took off.
I think I was hearing some really, really low subs there. Maybe down to the E1 sub again with that upright bass. This is very cool. I haven't heard him like create this synchronicity between voice and instrument in this way before.
Second Street is driving a drop-top Cadillac. You know he took all my money, and it may sound funny, but I come to get my money back. Everybody sing Jack, don't you know? You don't tug on Superman's cape.
A little break. I like that build up, that chordal build towards that don't you know before this chorus. You know, in the original, I don't think there's any extra voices or harmonies or anything. So it's really cool to hear how much more you can add with adding some harmonies. The original song is very much like folk or, you know, kind of cowboy country, as far as I remember it. And, you know, it's very simple as far as the instrumentation and the vocals and everything. And so this is obviously a much more complicated arrangement of the song. And I think it adds a lot. I think it is keeping to the core, but again, doing Geoff's thing, doing what Geoff loves to do with his music, and doing what we have grown to love about what Geoff does with his music as well.
He's driving a drop-top Cadillac. You know he took all my money, and it may sound funny, but I come to get my money back. Everybody sing Jack, don't you know? You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the whole Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim.
Yeah, there's some really cool action happening with the low vocal bass line and that upright bass sound. Really cool. I wish I had... These headphones are very balanced and like boring. They're like boring headphones because you want to be able to hear detail, but they don't have a big bass response like, you know, Beats by Dre or Apple earbuds. They're meant to be studio balanced, and so you guys are probably listening on headphones where the bass lines are huge and like in your face because people like bass in their music, so that's why headphones are designed that way. So you're hearing a kind of different bass thing. It might be very clear in your headphones actually what's being done vocally and what's being done with a bass instrument, but it's not terribly clear in my headphones.
Don't spit into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the whole Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Well, a hush fell over the come bopping in off the street.
Record.
And when the cutting was done, the only part that wasn't bloody was the sole of the big man's feet. Yeah, he was
So that, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, is a totally new chord progression for that down section. And it still worked with the lead melody. There was a little bit of, I think there's a little bit of crunch, like note to note. Because I think he kept the melody the same, but was changing the chords underneath. So there's a little bit of that kind of morphing chord to chord while keeping the original melody, creating a little bit of crunch on occasion, which is a very, it adds a very cool color, cool spice to this section.
Well, a hush fell over the pool room, and Jimmy come bopping in off the street. And when the cutting was done,
Got some
the
organ.
only part that wasn't bloody was the sole of the big man's feet.
So
Yeah,
obviously the drums are gone at that point. We still get some guitar, some percussive guitar. We also have an organ that comes in, which is really cool. And of course we get the ums and oohs from the backgrounds. It's perfect. So this is a section where he really could have pulled back even further. He could have just been like, just lead voice and snaps again, kind of like he did earlier. He could have done lead voices and just ums, but he added the organ. I think I hadn't heard the organ before. Kept a little bit of that percussion in the guitar section, that percussive guitar playing to keep that momentum going. And then, you know, it's a subdued solo, right? It's a subdued vocal moment, both lead and background, but there's still, he actually kept more in during the section than I might have anticipated, just being familiar with the original. I think it really works though.
well, a hush fell over the pool room, and Jimmy come bopping in off the street.
An
When
organ.
the cutting was done, the only part that wasn't bloody was the sole of the big man's feet. Yeah, he was cutting about 100 places, and he was shot in a couple more. And you better believe.
So that sounds like an instrumental bass happening. Now I know with good editing, especially like the audio engineer, I think Lane does a lot of the mixing and editing. He can make a voice sound like a number of different instruments. So it's possible that's going on here, or it's possible Geoff, because it's not purely a cappella, used an actual instrument or a software instrument for that bass line. Both options are on the table.
And he was shot in a couple more.
But that sounds like an instrument.
Believe they sung a different kind of story when Big Jim hit the floor. Now they say you don't tug on Superman.
Teasing us with a potential low E1 chest. I don't think I've ever heard that from Geoff.
Now they say you
Close
don't
down there.
tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. You don't pull the mask off the Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slade. Come on. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't into the wind. You don't pull the mask off the
Oh, you don't piss into the wind is the lyrics. I didn't realize he had been. Was he editing that out in the earlier in the song? I actually wasn't paying attention, but there he had glass breaking to keep it even more PG, I suppose.
Come on.
You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't into the wind.
You don't
Pull the mask.
Listen to those dynamics. Wind, like really pushing and pulling on the dynamics of some of these harmonies. Keeping that up and down, right? Keeping that push and pull, keeping that contrast that I love to talk about so much on this channel. And that really keeps things interesting. It's very easy for music to get static. Even music that's really arranged well, it's easy for it to get static. It requires a lot of those added little things to really, if a listener's really listening, right? If you're just passively listening, it doesn't matter so much. But if you're really listening and watching and engaging, how one should with like a guy like Geoff and a music video and all that, this should be the thing you're doing, right? At least it changes the experience. You can get a different experience really paying attention to it. And so it's those little details for the people that are really watching.
Say you don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit in the wind. You don't pull the mask off the Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Slade. Come on.
You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't into the wind.
You don't around with Sid.
Woo! Dang. Ha! Yeah, dude. Oh, absolutely fantastic. I love he drops down to that super low G1, big, thick G1 chest. And then, given how long he had sustained that, we're like, okay, he's not gonna chest the E1, or he would have, done that on the lower note. And then just like two gigantic, thick subharmonic notes down on that E1. Really doesn't lose any power and intensity as far as, giving us that climax and that delivery at the end that we're waiting for as he's going down to the bottom of his range. It's like he starts descending and you're like, here it comes. Like, here comes the low note, right? Did not disappoint at all. And I like how he kept in the at the end as well. I don't know if he had done that earlier in the song, but that is in the original. A variation of that's in the original. Let's listen to this whole ending again. That was just so good.
Don't mess around with Sid.
Hell yeah. So good. Geoff loves the heavy kick snare, and I also love the heavy kick snare. I feel like someday Geoff and I will do a song together. I really feel that. I think it's going to be epic, because I think the more I listen to his music, despite, you guys, if you check out my album, I think you'll understand what I'm talking about. I love bringing like kind of added power and drama and intensity to a song, and Geoff does it one way and I do it another way, but a lot of it has to do with adding things, adding vocal layering, adding heavier samples, adding instruments. So for mine, I do a lot of like heavy electronics, a lot of orchestra, a lot of vocal layering, also bass vocal leads. So we do totally different music, but our approach is actually relatively similar, adding harmonies here and there, changing melodies here and there, build-ups, drops. I think there's a really cool project waiting to happen. So we'll see. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please do consider joining my Patreon community. Would love to have you over there for all kinds of benefits. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, check out my album. It's called Metamorphosis. Again, I'll leave the links below. Hope you guys enjoyed this Geoff experience, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.